Welcome to Supersize versus Superskinny. Checking into the feeding clinic tonight is eating machine Mark.
I'm a big carbo junkie.
And self-conscious food casualty Dale.
I hate my body, I'm so body conscious. I feel like I've got the body of like a 10-year-old boy.
Their atrocious eating habits have put them at opposite ends of the scale. But over 5 days in the feeding clinic, they'll get to radically rethink their eating regimes under Dr. Christian Jessen's watchful eye. Plus, Supersizer Mark will be travelling stateside.
Hey, Mark. How's it going, Mark? Yeah.
To discover life at 38 stone. And 6 weeks on, why clothes shopping can be hell when you have an eating disorder.
It feels unsettling, and I just feel I'm not worthy of such nice, clothes.
This week's Supersizer is 42-year-old Mark Hughes.
I love food. I'm a man of multiple vices.
Since he started his own cleaning company 7 years ago, Mark's non-stop feeding frenzy has seen his waistline expand almost as quickly as his business.
My day generally starts with a big fry-up. All the bells and whistles is going to be the fried bread, the egg, bacon, sausage, mushrooms, a couple of slices of toast on the side extra. Around about 11:30, I start feeling this urge that I need to snack on something. Lunchtime is literally another couple of hours later. Around about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, where I think, it's time for another snack, which leads on to dinner time. And it just seems that I'm never without food.
Unsurprisingly, Mark's binging has started eating into precious time with the kids.
He's got no energy to take them to the park. I know it does really hurt him, particularly when your 3-year-old son watches you getting dressed and turns around and says, "Oh, look, Daddy, you've got boobies."
And as if playtime humiliation wasn't enough, Mark's marital bed has also become a no-go zone.
For the last 7 years, I've slept on a sofa. Why? Because I snore, and I snore really, really, loudly, to a point where, my wife wearing earplugs doesn't do the trick.
Hi Mark, how are you? Nice to meet you. Hey.
It's time for Mark to meet Dr. Christian Jessen and discover what his eating habits are doing to his health. A healthy weight for a man of 5'7" is between 11 and 13.5 stone. But Mark weighs in at a whopping 22 stone 3. That's 11 stone overweight.
Mark, I sent you for a load of blood tests before you came in here, and let me tell you, the results of these, particularly with what we call your blood lipids, the fats and the cholesterol in your blood, they're really worrying. It means in the next 10 years, your risk of having a heart attack or stroke is really, really high. Okay, it's more likely that you will have one than you won't have one. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Scares me.
And there's more bad news about Mark's snoring.
Snoring, for a lot of people, is kind of funny, and it's just noise and means you sort of don't sleep very well. Actually, the health implications of snoring are far more serious. And particularly if you have something called sleep apnea, which is where you snore for a bit, and then you stop, and there's a sort of very worrying period of even a minute or so's silence, and then you give a massive great snort and wake yourself up and start breathing again.
Yeah.
It's a very common thing in overweight people.
Sleep apnea is caused when the muscles and soft tissues at the back of the throat collapse for 10 seconds or longer during sleep, temporarily cutting off oxygen to the brain and increasing the likelihood of strokes, heart attacks, and high blood pressure.
I think there should be an awful lot of things that are now motivating you to sort this out. The top of the list one is that you're going to die if you don't, is the bottom line.
Yeah.
Agree?
Yeah, no, that's the worst feeling ever.
At half Mark's age and half his weight, Dale's eating habits have driven his family to despair.
I can't even remember the last time I had 3 full meals in a day. It's been that long.
Dale has terrible eating habits. He doesn't eat regularly, he doesn't eat the right foods, and when he does eat, it's microwave meals.
I don't necessarily enjoy ready-made meals. It's just the fact that they're convenient for me to eat because I'm usually quite busy.
And all that busyness is fueled by a caffeine kickstart that leaves Dale craving the next fix.
I love coffee. First thing I do in the morning when I get up, I'll be a cup of coffee before I even brush my teeth.
Hi.
It's time to break the vicious cycle with a visit to Dr. Jesson's feeding clinic.
28 inches around your middle.
At 5 feet 11, 21-year-old Dale is only 9 stone 6, at the bottom of the safe weight for his height.
I think one of the things that you've managed to do over the years is teach your body to run on empty.
And just as Dale's body's running on empty, so is his self-confidence.
Well, I've more or less been single my whole life, and one of the main reasons I think started is because I'm body conscious. My arms dead slim, my legs dead skinny. You know, I don't feel comfortable like meeting, you know, new people. I was 17, I got like a gym membership as a Christmas present for a year, and I can count on one hand the amount of times that I used it. I felt really self-conscious as well about the other people around in the gym, you know, that had alright bodies and stuff. Just made me look like a weed.
It does upset me to see him the way he is at the moment. I want him to be confident in himself, and I want his self-esteem where it should be.
But I think, you know, if your self-esteem has taken such a bashing, then that would be a really nice thing to fix for you and for your confidence, and to see you gradually change, that would be great. So give it your best. Think about the emotional sides of things. Think about why has all this come about. You know, you've got a week to work all this sort of stuff out. I believe you can do it. You've got me breathing down your neck.
Okay.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
For the next 5 days, our dodgy eaters will be swapping diets to encourage Mark to eat less and Dale more, before taking on a long-term healthy eating plan. Prior to finding out what's on the menu, it's time for Superskinny to meet Supersize.
When I came around the corner and saw this really skinny guy, it immediately made me feel a bit more self-conscious. It's a lot less than what I've got, put it that way.
Give me some if you want. My first impressions were just that he was quite small and overweight.
I would actually crush him if I had to sit on him. Kind of worries me now that he probably eats way less than I have ever eaten.
Now they've got the measure of each other, it's time to confront Mark and Dale with their atrocious diets.
We're going to start at the top of the day with both of you. And we're going to start with you, Dale. Breakfast. Mark, the concept of no breakfast?
Yeah.
You have nothing to say whatsoever.
I'm a little speechless, yeah.
All right. To be fair to you, you did eat breakfast once in the week, didn't you? Yeah, very breakfasty. It was half a pizza. Okay, well, at least it was a breakfast. So now we go on to lunch, because you must be getting pretty peckish by lunchtime. Is there anything else? There is indeed. So more crisps and sandwich, because it's looking here like actually food is a bit of an inconvenience that you have to do rather than something you really relish and enjoy. So should we go on and have a look at your dinners? That is definitely macaroni and cheese. Lovely, chips and cheese there. Baked potato with a, well, first bit of greenery we've seen going in your tube so far. We haven't done your drinks yet. You can see if you look at it, I mean, there's as much coffee in there as there is food. There's something else that you quite like a drink of on a Friday night, isn't there? What was interesting is in those 2 bottles of wine, you actually got more iron than you did from the rest of your diet that week. Now, that's not an advert for drinking lots and lots of wine. That's an advert for bucking up your diet.
On just 1,300 calories a day, Dale's eating the recommended intake for a 3-year-old boy, instead of the 2,400 calories his body needs.
Right, Mark, so it's your turn now. That looks like eggs, bacon, sausage, beans, toast. Oh, there's another one. You cook that yourself, or this is in a cafe or something?
My local cafe.
Your local cafe?
Yeah.
Dale, what do you think of these breakfasts so far?
I wouldn't even eat that much in a day.
I don't think you would. So I think that's a fair point. What you're going for is very high-calorie, high-fat breakfast. Now, of all the meals of the day, if you like, that's the meal to have it at. The trouble is, this is kind of the recurring theme throughout the entire day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Deep fried chicken, high-fat, chips, high-fat. That looks like lamb chops with mashed potato. Despite the fact that you're now well up to my waist, have beaten him by, well, you've doubled him, haven't you? But you're still hungry. A bit of snacking goes on. There's a whole pie in there. There's sandwiches coming in. What else? Donuts covered in icing, biscuits. Whoa, okay. Let's pop drinks in now. And again, like Dale, you like your coffee as well, don't you?
Gorging on 5,000 calories a day means Mark is literally eating for two. And Dr. Christian has another supersize shock in store.
Underneath here is the amount of sugar that you get through in a year. 66 bags of sugar. That's 44 bags more than you should be getting, because that 44 bags is unnecessary sugar. So starting to take an interest in where your food comes from, what the ingredients are, who's made it what with, is really, really important.
Coming up, Dale's first day in the feeding clinic turns into an eating marathon.
Eating the fat was disgusting.
And a shopping trip triggers a harsh realisation for our eating disorder sufferer, Erin.
It's made me realise how bad I really am.
This week's feeding clinic inmates are eating machine Mark at 22 stone 3 pounds and at half his weight convenience food casualty Dale. They're about to face their first full day's diet swap, and Superskinny Dale has no idea what he's in for. While Mark's endless intake is about to prove Dale can eat more, a menu of minute servings will hopefully prove to Mark he can survive on less. To kick off, it's a deceptively small cheese panini with crisps and a cola for Dale. While for Mark, just a cup of coffee awaits.
Is that it?
That's all, sorry.
You're kidding.
That's it up for the day, that.
Yeah, enjoy it. It's a substantial hearty breakfast.
For someone who's never eaten breakfast, Dale's making a brave start.
Now I'm eating, I'm starting to feel like, you know, it's not that hard to eat something in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm just so used to not eating anything in the
We
morning.
say we don't have time, we're busy. I find time to make food.
I really have tried my best to eat all that, and that is as far as it's going to go this last Christmas.
That's what you think, Dale.
You all right, Dale? I've got an in-betweener snack for you.
Chocolate.
And hardly has Dale had time to digest his breakfast and mid-morning chocolate snack, then it's off for one of Mark's favourite meals, a massive pub lunch.
One of my favourite meals, Dad.
Not pork chop and potato.
Ham chop, mash, gravy.
Certainly looks better than that dry pasty, Mark.
I really, I could have tucked into that. The tummy was yearning, the mind was willing to climb into it, so there was a part of me that's really envied having that meal.
But one man's meat is another man's poison.
Is that meat or is that fat?
That's a combination.
Ooh. It's just fat. That's like fat from an animal, so all it's doing is just going to go straight back onto you and be fat on you. Eating the fat was disgusting. It tasted really salty and chewy. At this moment in time, what I'm feeling, bloated and sick.
Hot on the heels of all that fatty meat, it's time for another pasty, this time for Dale.
How could you be peckish after what we've just had to eat?
There you go. When I said that I eat continuously through the day.
You wasn't lying.
I know. Well done.
Empty plate.
That evening, having fought through 4 times the food he'd normally eat, Dale's plugging on with a massive meat feast pizza.
This is really greasy.
But this time it's Mark's turn to rebel over a microwaved macaroni cheese.
It's funny how it's quite looking forward to dinner tonight, but this is not doing it for me.
Is it not?
No. No, I'm not going to eat any more of that, eh?
Why not?
Not tasting very nice.
I think you should eat it. You know, I didn't want to eat the crisps this morning.
Yeah, you're
There was
right.
only a bit left anyway.
No, you're right. You're right. I'll eat a bit more. I don't know when I'm going to eat again, so...
Eating when you're not enjoying something's never easy, but for the estimated 1.6 million eating disorder sufferers in Britain, issues around when, what and how much to eat dominate every waking moment. Over the past 6 weeks, we've followed 3 women with different eating disorders as they've embarked on an 8-week course designed to help establish healthy relationships with food and their bodies. 32-year-old Meena Krishnan suffers from bulimia.
I don't really like looking at myself. I don't own any mirrors, except for a tiny one which I do my makeup in.
34-year-old Emma Paul suffers with anorexia nervosa.
I will just go round in baggy jumpers and tracksuit bottoms and everything's covered. You can't tell how thin I am.
And 19-year-old Erin Ruddock suffers from anorexia with a binge purge subtype.
I feel disgusting in the way that I look now. I feel ugly. I need to feel good about myself now, otherwise I'll never ever feel good about myself.
Ursula has brought the group clothes shopping to help address some of their self-esteem issues.
Today I'd like the girls to face their anxieties about the way they look. I want them to try and treat themselves to choose an outfit that looks and feels good and one that challenges their distorted body image.
Clothes shopping for somebody suffering from an eating disorder can be extremely tricky. Typically, they may be driven by perfectionist standards and want to make themselves look immaculate, or conversely, they may want to hide away their bodies because they're particularly conscious of body shape and weight.
I hate this sort of thing. Basically, I don't like anything about clothes shopping. I don't like clothes very much. I'm trying to look at everything, and there's just too much of it, and there's people everywhere.
For me, it feels like everybody's staring at me and looking at me. It feels unsettling, and I just feel I'm not worthy of such nice, clothes.
I'm really, really excited about clothes shopping. Something that I love to do. I'm more of like a binge shopper as well, I would say. Like when I go shopping, I pick up loads of things. If I can't make a decision between them, I'll just buy them all if I've got enough money.
Out of all three of them, Erin's the one that will probably find this task the easiest. She loves clothes shopping and she loves fashion. She has no problem in treating herself to clothes. She just has a problem in treating her body to nourishment.
They're nice, but they're not really like going out in.
I like school dresses, but I like them.
For that one, it's a nice brighter colour.
That one's too dark.
Mina might find this task difficult today. She just likes clothes that cover herself, particularly cover areas like her tummy.
It's not really difficult finding things in the right size for me. It's just more a case of finding things that are not a bit flouncy. Everything's got like extra frills, and I just like things to be completely plain, and I hate standing out. I don't like being looked at.
Emma and Erin are both a UK size 4, which is more controversially known as a US size 0.
I find it very difficult to find clothes that fit. Most of the time I have to go into kids sections.
Every shop's different though with their sizes, I find. In some shops I can wear a 6 or a 4, and in some shops I buy like age 10 to 11, so...
To take the girls further out of their comfort zone, Ursula has asked them to try on some of the clothes they've picked in front of the group.
Ooh la la!
This one. I don't want to try anything else on now. I like this one.
Yeah, you have that one. Nice. Yeah.
It fits beautifully, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a medium, so obviously I'm hugely fat.
No. You've got a tiny little waist.
And how do you feel in a dress like that?
I wouldn't usually have like a belt detail, and I suppose it looks something I can wear to work as well, which I like.
It shows you've got a really nice hourglass figure. You've got curves in the right places and your nice tucked-in waist.
It's really nice. Yeah, I like this. I did like the way the grey dress looked. It was very, a lot more fitted and stylish than I usually wear. I usually go for quite shapeless things.
Wow!
It's really nice.
That is really nice. It seems to fit really well.
I just feel as though I need something over the top of it to help
You
hide
absolutely
it.
don't.
So
Can we have a look at the other underneath, or what's it like without jacket?
look at that.
Oh, that looks lovely.
Yeah.
How do you feel in it?
Awkward, very self-conscious.
Because it's not something you usually wear, is it?
No.
Emma first of all came out with a jacket. It's important for people who shy away and don't like their bodies to do some exposure work and get used to tolerating what they look like and how they feel.
I'm very good at looking at the negatives than the positives. It's much easier to pick up on where I failed and let myself down.
Flapper lady. That's awesome. I really like that.
It's very 20s styled, inspired.
Yeah, again, you need some jewellery around your neck, I think.
I need a great big jumper.
You could get a pashmina.
How do you feel in it?
I just don't like the arms.
Well, don't look
showing.
at your arms, look at the rest of it. How do you feel about the rest of
I
it?
can't, I just keep seeing horrible
Well,
bits.
focus on the arms, especially the skirt, because that's the bit your eyes are drawn to, because it's the ruffles and the colours. What do you think?
Yeah, it's quite fun, isn't it?
I think through choosing different outfits that exposed her body in a different way to normal, I think Emma found that quite an uncomfortable experience, but I think it's really great that she did it, and it's quite brave that she confronted her feelings head on. Wow. That really suits you, that neckline. That looks really nice.
Yeah, like the neckline.
Spin.
I like that colour as well. Yeah, it's really
Because
nice.
it's the way with the
Same.
arrows, that's lovely on your hips.
It's quite a feminine dress and it's very flattering to your figure. How do you feel in it?
I don't feel anything special in it. I can't stop looking at my arms. I think my arms look massive in it.
What can you say?
I just do.
They look tiny.
My arms are as big as like my waist is.
It's because your waist is ridiculously small. That's why. It's not because your arms are big.
Your arms are small.
Your arms are tiny. Although Erin is generally more confident about choosing clothes, she struggles when any part of her body is exposed. She automatically draws her eyes to it, focuses on it, and is quite critical of it.
I think you look really massive in things like this.
It's really strange that you can think that.
In the same way that Emma feels like she needs to cover up her arms, I feel like I need to cover up my arms, but for the opposite reason. I feel like they're too big, and it makes me look a bit, like blobby and not very nice.
With Erin still struggling to cope, Ursula asks them all to join her for a cup of tea.
So I was just going to ask you guys sort of generally how you felt about things at the minute, reflecting perhaps on sort of the past few weeks or so.
When you've got the infinite choice of what to do, I always do it wrong.
I guess I am very good at ignoring things, but I need to actually take my head out of the sand and actually address the issues and listen to what I've been told and take it on board.
Can you sort of relate to what Emma's saying at all, or
I don't want to say anything
why?
because I feel completely stuck.
What I've seen is that you're somebody who puts on a very brave face and tries to cope, but I guess I've seen over the past weeks that you're really not coping well and that things are really on top of you and that you are really stuck and really in a hole at the moment.
I just think it's made me realise how bad I really am.
Over the past 6 weeks, Erin has struggled the most to come to terms with her illness.
I think I'm being in complete denial about the extent.
I think you're right. I think physically and psychologically you're quite frail. Is that how you feel?
Completely.
For me, it feels like this is quite a crunch time and that you've got some thinking to do about where you want to go from here, really, to try and get you out of this hole. And I certainly feel like you need more intense support than you're getting at the moment. Yeah. The fact that Erin has recognised how ill she is and that perhaps her health needs to be a priority is a real vital step in the road to recovery and something she really needed to do.
Next time, Erin's condition takes a turn for the worse.
I felt really, quite weak. My hands turned blue and spasmed a bit.
If you've been affected by any of the issues raised, go to our website, channel4.com/Supersize v Superskinny. It's the second morning in the feeding clinic, and while Mark prepares one of his favourite monster fry-ups for Dale,
Breakfast time.
Dale's still recovering from the night before.
Last night I was sick, from all the food that I'd eaten. That shows me just how bad Mark's diet is. If it's making me feel sick just after 2 days, then, what does that say about him?
And that's how the diet swap works, by showing them both how their extreme diets affect each other.
Enjoy.
Well, Mark, Dale's going to enjoy that as much as you'll enjoy your glass of water.
And how did your body react? Yesterday to all the food that you had.
And I just thought, oh my God, my world's ending. I can't possibly eat anymore.
Yeah.
And then when I was laying in bed, I could feel like food swimming about in my stomach. It just felt horrible. And I was sick twice.
Got sick twice?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. The fact that my diet is making somebody else physically ill rings warning bells to me. Yeah, that's going to lead to an untimely death.
As Mark starts to appreciate how appalling his diet is, he's confronted with some home truths in an emotional letter from wife Tina.
My darling Mark, I don't tell you often enough how much I love you and really appreciate everything you do for our family. I want to take this opportunity to also apologise.
I've not been in a good place emotionally lately. I've felt very angry with you for a number of years, for abusing your body and allowing your weight to spiral out of control. The family is suffering as a result. You don't take the kids to the park or play with them in the garden because your weight hinders you.
My worst fear is waking up one morning with you no longer around and having to explain to Lauren and Matthew that Daddy died because he neglected to take care and look after himself.
We haven't shared the same bed for many years now because of your snoring. I want us to be a loving couple again, with lots of fun and laughter, having the life that you deserve. Now is your chance.
I love you very much. Your loving wife forever, Tina. Tough.
If that's not motivation, I don't know what is.
I can't go back now.
You can't, no.
As a father and a husband reading that letter, it was incredibly difficult to hear those words because it brought home just how much I've not been, the father and husband, that my wife and my kids have really wanted me to be. I've neglected them, and it's got to change right now.
It's day 4 in the feeding clinic, and serial snacker Mark is coming to terms with his 3rd morning without breakfast. Meanwhile, Dale is struggling with one of 3 super stuffed corned beef rolls.
Have you felt quite tired all week because...
All week, like I've been taking naps on in the afternoon.
I know.
Couldn't do that.
How do we honestly get on with our day? With me shoveling all of that, and then, it's like my body wants to go into hibernation mode. No wonder I'm feeling tired all the time.
Tiredness after eating is often caused by fluctuations in blood glucose and insulin. To keep levels steady, avoid refined carbohydrates such as white bread and go for whole grain and protein-based meals instead.
But it's come apparent to me as well that, like, seeing you, like, not having nothing to eat every single morning, it's kind of like me realise how stupid it is not to have breakfast.
Yeah.
Come on in then, Dale.
The penny seems to be dropping for Dale, but to reinforce his message, Dr. Christian wants to show him what all undereaters could develop if they don't get the nutrients they need.
These are all pictures to do with malnutrition, what happens if you're not eating enough of the right things. So my first picture for you is this. Tell me about it. What do you think?
Is it some sort of, like, abscess?
It's a very big, angry-looking ulcer. You can see the skin is all macerated and dead and white. Lots of different causes of ulcers. Most worrying ulcer, and the reason you should never really ignore ulcers in your mouth if they persist, is cancer, mouth cancer. You're a smoker. So you are more likely to get ulcers, and you're more likely to get ulcers that are due to cancer. But there's another very important cause that is relevant to you as well, and that is vitamin and mineral deficiencies. And the one I want to talk about here is iron and folate. Iron is very important for forming blood and the oxygen-carrying molecule, and folate actually as well helps produce red blood cells. If you're not getting enough iron and folate in your diet, and therefore you're not making red blood cells that function properly, you're not going to be carrying oxygen around your body.
Common sources of iron and folate include dark leafy green vegetables, fortified cereals, liver and beans. All cheap and easy to find in local markets, stores and supermarkets.
So, let's move on. This is because of a condition called scurvy. Scurvy is a disease that sailors used to get. They used to become very deficient in a particular vitamin called vitamin C. Scurvy is not a very nice disease. It causes tissue problems, tissue breakdown, causes skin cracking, flaking. You are deficient in vitamin C in your diet. You are lacking enough of this, and you're also a smoker. Therefore, that means your vitamin C requirements, say compared to mine, are actually much higher.
The best sources of vitamin C include peppers, broccoli, oranges and kiwi fruit, proving healthy food needn't be expensive.
Vitamin C is important because it also helps the absorption of other vitamins. So if you're not getting enough vitamin C, maybe you're not getting enough vitamin D. And if we look at the last picture here, it's a condition called rickets. Rickets causes the bones to soften. It's called osteomalacia. And they just sort of bow out from under you as if they can't bear your weight. Vitamin D comes from 2 sources: diet, and it also comes from the action of sunlight on your skin.
Good dietary sources of vitamin D include oily fish, eggs, fortified cereals and margarine.
By having such a restricted, minimal diet, you are bringing these on yourself. The way you avoid getting them is you simply increase the quality of the food that you're eating. And actually what's nice for once in medicine is the solution's quite easy. Yeah?
You know, knowing that could happen to me really hit home. You know, it was a good lesson for me to, kind of like come to terms with just how bad my diet is, and if it progresses the way that it has been going, you know, that could actually be my reality.
It's lunchtime, and Dale's cheese panini has inspired him to give Mark a health lecture of his own.
Can you see all that coming out of there?
Yeah.
I mean, like, when you see the grease and stuff, does it not make you, what do you think?
I really paid much attention to it. Yeah, I kind of more see the fact that it tastes all right. That's the problem. I'm not thinking about what's in the food.
I think that's both of our problem, isn't it? We've not got any control over our food. We don't know what's going in it.
No, absolutely. Pretty disgusting. Dale did me the hugest of favours when he picked up that piece of cheese and squished it, and seeing his face, the absolute disgust, made me feel very, very uncomfortable. I've been ingesting stuff like that for years and haven't thought about it in the slightest iota.
With a diet high in cheese, processed meats and butter, Mark's been consuming almost 4 times the recommended amount of saturated fat, increasing his chances of developing heart disease and erectile dysfunction. The good news is saturated fats are easy to replace by choosing low-fat alternatives and using vegetable oil instead of animal fats in cooking. Mark knows he faces an uphill struggle, and to make sure there's no chance of turning back, Dr. Christian has a message from America, a glimpse into the future he's perilously close to if he doesn't change.
I'm Mark Beatty, 38 stone, live in Los Angeles. I'm 46 years old. Food is an addiction probably for me. I can eat my whole day calorie in one meal. Showering with my bathtub the way it is, it's kind of uncomfortable, so I have to stand sideways. I also have a shower head that's attached to a hose, which I have to maneuver so I can get under my folds of my skin. Came to a head about 1999. I had constant thirst. I was urinating a lot. I had explosive diarrhea, and at that time I was about 28 stone. I got sleep apnea, high blood pressure, triglycerides are way out of proportion. That's just fat in my blood. On my right leg I got cellulitis, and it's a real bad skin disease. All these right here are just from where I scratched, and they got infected. I could lose my foot. If it gets too worse, it'll eat up the muscle, and then I may lose my leg. I met a girl online. As far as sexually, it's just, I was, worried about hurting her, go on top of her and stuff like that. And my belly gets in the way, and maybe I can't make the penetration as easily. She got to the point where she went and had, found someone else, that satisfy her needs. To this day, I still love her, but I can't be with her anymore. I'm lonely. I don't like being by myself. I want to have a partner in life. Mark, you're on your way to some serious health problems. I know, I've been there. You need to do this for yourself, your kids, your wife. I had relationships with my girlfriend that, we couldn't sleep in the same room together because I snored too loud. And that put a big wedge in between us, and we ended up breaking apart. You have a family that you need to do this for, so you can be there for them and watch them grow up. I long for what you have. So if you're going to do something about it, do it now.
Come on now, tell me.
Well, the signs, everything that he was explaining about himself are already showing evidence.
He was your weight once. That didn't suddenly happen to him. Did it?
No.
That was every day, just, I'm all right, another day, don't need to do anything. Until one day you just go, there's no going back really, is there?
No.
Whereas with you...
I never want to get to that stage.
You can do something about it now, and you know you can.
Yeah, I will.
I'm going to be sending you off to America to go and meet Mark.
All right.
Just as the final push, yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
It's their final morning in the feeding clinic.
Full English and a cup of tea.
Iced coffee. It's the best thing you'll ever drink in your life.
I'll be the judge of that.
Promise you. Go on, try it. Do you not like it?
Not at all, man. That's that. But do you think that you would actually, maybe do away with it and actually have a breakfast like that?
Without a shadow of a doubt, I'll be having breakfast every morning.
Yeah.
I learnt that from you sitting there not having any. Seeing the way that Mark has responded to the foods that I give him, it's helped me see that the way that I was going was completely unacceptable.
I've been feeling really guilty watching Dale eat my diet. It was really satisfying to know now that I don't have to just shove it back by the truckload. Well, to freedom.
Having reached the end of their stay, Mark and Dale will be leaving with tailor-made healthy eating plans.
I'm ready to make these changes now. I need to make the changes by, first of all, making time to make, to eat food and stuff, because that was one of my biggest problems. This week has shown me that I can eat more, and it's shown me what I can do rather than what I can't.
All right, Dale. You take care. Take care, man. All right.
See you soon.
There certainly will be no more takeaways, no more fry-ups. So I don't need to have food all the time.
Between a quarter and a third of adult Americans are now clinically obese, and Supersizer Mark's flown to LA to see the reality of life if he doesn't stop expanding.
Don't know what to expect.
Hi.
Hey, Mark.
How's it going, Mark?
Yeah. Getting the mirror image of me, possibly twice the size. It's not going to be easy to kind of maybe understand or even digest, but I do think it's necessary.
He and his 38-stone counterpart, also named Mark, share many similarities, with both seeing work as a factor in their weight gain.
All my energy went into the business and it neglected everything else. So, the family, but, most importantly, me.
Pretty much the same experience with me. So working, 15, 16-hour days. My scale was like this. Just all my work was here, and I had no life here. So I need to, find balance.
We actually took our eye off the real game, and the real game is not work.
No. Work is like life.
It's balance, isn't it? Yeah. It's having that balance, and this is what was completely missing for me.
Back at the house, Mark reveals the numerous medication he takes to keep his obesity-related illnesses in check.
It was for my diabetes, and it was for my high blood pressure. And this is a water pill that helped with my edema in my legs. And a baby aspirin for my heart.
Wow. That's a lot of...
I'm tied to those, those are my lifeline.
The biggest thing is seeing how much medication he has to take. By putting on all that weight, this is where all the problems have come in.
Mark's excessive weight has also led to the development of sleep apnea. So serious, he needs a ventilator to keep him breathing at night.
Pull this up and over the back of your head. You know that?
That's all good. Yo. That's quite a lot of air going in through my...
That's 7 pounds of pressure. When I first started, I was getting almost 15 pounds of pressure.
So double.
Double that.
That awful sleep apnea machine that he uses, every night just to help him sleep. It makes me get cold just thinking about that. Yeah, that's enough. I gotta take that off because that's not nice at all. Oh, that is some serious stuff, that. Well, Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
Good luck and thank you very much.
My pleasure. I'm glad you came out and see me.
It's been really, really, enlightening. And most importantly is to get a chance to really witness what Mark has been experiencing and, the difficulties that he has. Not only with all the medication that he has to take, but just, the sleep apnea apparatus and just getting around in general. Not the easiest thing for him to do. What I've learned today is going large is not the right way.
It's a few months later, and it's time to see if Mark and Dale have managed to change their lives.
I think I've done pretty well. I definitely feel like I've had a change in body shape. But I'm excited today. I want to find out.
Overall, I'm feeling more excited than I am nervous. I'm definitely hoping for a good result today.
Mark, it's good to see you again. Welcome back. What have you done then? What changes now have you made?
Well, I sold my business to try and get rid of the stress levels. I mean, my lifestyle is completely different. I mean, it's radically different in the fact that, I now have breakfast with my children and my wife. I get my day's worth of work done more productively now because I'm not as lethargic and tired all the time.
And do you think your sleeping and your snoring, more importantly, is getting better?
It's abated and decreased dramatically.
Oh, really?
It's not completely gone yet.
No.
But it is so much better in the fact that Tina and I have had a conversation that I'll be back in the bed in not too distant future.
Wow, there's the incentive to keep
the result, yeah.
So tell me what's been going on.
My appetite has changed dramatically, like I've noticed it myself. I'm always eating, even if I'm not having like a big meal, I'm still always eating something.
And the coffee is now...
I still drink coffee, but I'll have one a day.
So what was going on before? Why were you just not eating at all? What had happened?
Just my lifestyle that I got stuck into. I just got stuck into a routine. Looking back now, it just seemed that it was so reckless and so careless. It's my body at the end of the day. I need to look after it. It's my temple.
Before Dr. Christian reveals their results, it's time for Mark and Dale to meet again.
Hello, Mark. Hello, Dale.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Nice to see you.
Hey, you're looking good.
You do? Chaps, excuse me a minute, but I think this whole experience has really done you both a lot of good, hasn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
Weight-wise, which I suppose this is all about, well, Dale, we're going to start with you. The changes that you've made are clearly having a great effect on you. They have also had a great effect on your weight. And you have put on half a stone.
Really?
Really. Okay. Half a stone is as much, in fact, it's more than I could expect from you. It's a really, really good achievement. So with you as well, let's put you out of your misery. And you haven't lost a stone and a half. And you haven't lost 2 stone. It's about you've actually lost 2 stone, 3 pounds. Which is amazing, amazing. Not only that, you've been working out hard.
Yeah, I have.
So you've been building muscle.
Trying, yeah.
Which means, because muscle is heavy, you're kind of putting on weight at the same time as you're losing fat. Yeah, so you've probably actually lost more fat than 2 stone, 3 pounds. And I tell you why, because we measure you as well, and you've lost 8 inches around your tummy. You must have noticed trousers falling down.
Yeah.
Remember at the end of the day what this is all about. This is about your future health, and you guys have now secured that, so please keep it up, and I'm so proud of you. Well done.
Thank you. There is absolutely no way I'm going back. It's just such a buzz to feel how I feel right now. I want that feeling to go on forever, and I'm ready. Today's been a great day. Good stuff. Well done.
Today, I feel like I've really achieved something. There's no going back to old habits, that can do one.
If you are over or underweight and you'd like to appear in the next series of Supersize versus Superskinny, log on to channel4.com/take part for an application form. Next week, Supersizer Danny swaps diets with an unimpressed super skinny Vicky.
That's horrible. It makes me feel sick.
Our Supersizer travels stateside to see life at 36 stone.
The deliciousness, the satisfaction, the gratification, it's not worth it.
And 7 weeks on, our eating disorder sufferers confront their low self-esteem with a day at a spa.
I thought today was pretty good fun. It's not the sort of thing I usually do, and I was a bit embarrassed quite a lot of the time, but it was really nice seeing Emma enjoying herself so much.
Very nice.